Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody's doing great. If you've been celebrating Christmas these past couple of days, hope you've been able to have an amazing Christmas, to spend some quality time with your loved ones, your friends, your family. Now, the reason I wanted to make this video is because similar to last year, I just wanted to make a recap video in which I can show you, in all honesty, in all transparency, how I experienced these past 12 months. Now, for those of you who watched my video from last year, which by the way, you can watch here if you're still interested, I was very candid and open about the fact that I was going through a pretty bad breakup, especially in the beginning of 2022. And 2022 for me was a year in which I was really trying to get back on my feet again, write down a couple of goals and figure out a way to smash them. Now, 2023 has been different for me. It's been an amazing year so far. I almost feel inclined to say that 2023 might have been the best year of my life. Now, nothing crazy happened. There hasn't been some dramatic or extreme change in my life. If anything, the thing that I focused on doing was doing what I did last year and just figure out a way to be consistent with my journey. That is my fitness, my nutrition, my job, the things that I'm doing in my personal life, the projects that I'm working on, the YouTube channel, but also just, the fun side of things, figuring out a way to travel, work remote a bit more, and also spend some more quality time with the people that I really care for. So it's always kind of difficult to explain to people that life doesn't always have to be fucking exciting for it to be exciting, if that makes any sense, right? So I still live in the same apartment, I still do pretty much the same things that I was doing last year, and yet I've never felt so much at peace as this year. And I was trying to figure out a way to explain why that is. And one of the biggest reasons is that this year in particular, I really learned to focus on myself in a non-selfish way, right? So when I say focusing on myself, I don't necessarily mean that everything I do for me, but I do mean that I just cut out the noise, stop looking left and right, stop comparing myself to other people, and just focus on my own little journey. And so far I can say that that has probably been one of the best decisions I've ever made, even though it seems so self-evident, like focus on yourself, don't pay attention to anyone else. It sounds so straightforward and so tried, but yet once you're able to put that to practice in a very real way and in a very consistent way, you'll notice how a lot of the stress that you're feeling, a lot of the anxiety, a lot of the pressure, it just kind of like dissipates. And so this year in particular, I wanted to accomplish a couple of things. One of the things was just save more money. I don't feel comfortable spitting out numbers, but I've been able to make more money this year than all the other years combined. Now, of course, you don't make money as a fucking kid and you don't make money as a teenager, but if you think about it, you are an adult in your 20s and you're already kind of like in the labor force, at least I was. Basically, I've been working since I was 12, 13, where I landed my first jobs, my first side hustles. And so this year, I don't know, just through the power of staying in my own lane and keep doing what I'm doing consistently and figure out a way to give value to my clients allowed me to make more money, but at the same time, on the backside of that, on the back end, have a strategy to save that money, invest that money. And so this year, for me, I wanted to focus on the financial aspect of my life. Now, that's only a part of the equation. The other part is that I also just wanted to feel a bit more in the present moment. And now there's two ways to kind of like go about this. You have your mind and you have your soul, your spirit, right? Like what's in here. And sure, my mind is always racing. It's still racing, and I'm not sure if that's ever going to change. Maybe when I'm really old, I'll feel like from a really mental/rational perspective, I'll be more in the present moment. For now, it's still racing because there's so many things that I want to do and so many things that I want to accomplish. And one of the biggest goals that I have right now, which may sound like a very small goal to someone else, but it's to retire my parents. Like, I want to make sure that my parents can retire and just enjoy their old days before they have to work until the age of 67 or maybe even 70 by the time they get there. So that's what I'm doing right now. Now, for that reason, I feel like my mind is always kind of like in a hurry. Not because of me, but because of my parents, because, I'm still young, but my parents as time passes by, they get older, and you can probably relate to that. Like our parents, guess what? They age just like everybody else. But on the inside, like my soul, my heart, I've never felt as much at peace as I do right now at this age. It's very weird to explain. It's just that I wake up and I feel at peace with myself. And the reason why I feel at peace with myself is because I can look at myself with a sense of pride, right? I look in the mirror and be like, hey, you're a cool dude. And I wish everybody could feel that feeling, that you look at yourself in the mirror and that you're proud of who you are and what you're doing. Now, the tricky part of that equation is that I know that the reason why I feel that sense of pride and confidence is that a lot of it is still linked and attached to my sense of productivity. In other words, if I'm not working hard, if I'm not out there trying to get things done, if I'm not accomplishing certain things, I sometimes still feel like I'm not worthy enough, if that makes sense, right? I attach a lot of the way I feel about myself to the level of accomplishment that I have, my sense of productivity, etc. And so that's probably the next step, to learn to have a very high self-worth regardless of what you're doing, right? But that's for another video. Maybe that's the goal for next year. But for now, I do feel a sense of pride. And the reason I feel so proud of myself is because I know that for at least the past year and a half, I've been very consistent with what I'm doing, which in and of itself is an accomplishment. Just being consistent with the things that you're saying, the things that you're planning on doing, and don't speak too much about it to the world, and just, put your head down, work, and let everybody else think you're broke. Let everybody else think you're lazy. Let everybody else think whatever the fuck they want to think about you, because you don't care. So, reflecting back on these past 12 months, in the beginning of this year, I had two minor goals. Well, one minor goal and one big goal. The first minor goal that I had was I really want to decrease my sugar consumption. And anybody that knows me, they know I'm a freak for fucking sugar. I love candy, I love cookies, I love chips. Even though I'm on this crazy, gym life, when it comes to my nutrition, I still have a lot of work to do, in a nutshell. So I thought, instead of, cutting out sugar out of my life just like that, I was like, maybe I should start cutting off sugar in smaller steps. So the first step that I wanted to make was stop putting sugar in your coffee and your tea. And if you drink multiple coffees and teas a day, well, that's an amount that would actually make a difference over a longer period of time. So I stopped doing that, and so far, guess what? Coffee can actually taste good without sugar. That was the small minor goal that I've had this year, and I've succeeded. Now, the bigger goal was to start getting in touch again with my faith. Right? I was born and raised as a Moroccan guy, and I'm a Muslim, and I do the Ramadan, and I don't drink alcohol, and I even never touch drugs or cigarettes, none of that stuff. But I also felt like there is more that I can do. And I feel like the older I get, the wiser I get, the more I accomplish, the more life experience I get, the less I'm inclined to live a life of hedonism, the less I want to have pleasure as my God, as my compass, right? So I decided this year to start praying again. And as a Muslim, as a devoted Muslim, you're supposed to pray 5 times a day. And I was just being really honest and realistic with myself. I was like, look, if I'm going to start praying 5 times a day right now, I probably will not be able to keep up. Not that I can't, but I just feel like my willpower wasn't strong enough to pray 5 times a day. And so I made a promise to myself that this year I would start praying 1 to 2 times per day, consistently, right? And trying not to skip that. And so I skipped a couple of times, but overall I've been able to keep up. I started to get into my prayers again, which, by the way, I totally lost touch with. I didn't know how to do it anymore. I didn't know the, certain parts of the Quran, like the surahs that I had to read, like the order, blah, blah, blah. Like a lot of things, I just had to relearn it again. And I think that me praying 1 to 2 times per day, to just have that little moment in which I'm not rushing, in which I just take a moment of gratitude, very similar to how, if you're not a religious person, you would probably meditate, right? Meditation is all about being in the present moment, just being in touch with whatever higher power you believe in, not thinking about too much about the future nor the past, trying to let go of certain grudges or resentment that you have, and just be at peace and be here right now. like have that moment of stillness. And I think prayer has that similar effect. And so doing that definitely contributed to my sense of gratitude. And I know it sounds, guys, trust me, I know how corny these things may sound, like how cheesy it is to say like I'm a grateful person, but genuinely, I wake up and I'm so hyper aware of the fact that whatever it is that I have right now, I may not have it tomorrow. Like I wake up so extremely aware of the fact that I'm so fortunate with my life. I'm not chilling on a yacht. I do not have a Ferrari. Yet, without those things, I'm still better off than 90.999% of the world. Like, you have to understand that if you were born in this part of the world, first and foremost, which is something that was given to you, like very fucking lucky. You might as well have been born in some outskirt where there is no opportunities to hell, there is no even electricity or running water. But I was born in this part of the world. I can buy whatever the fuck I want to buy in terms of food and nutrition. I have a roof above my head. I can pay my bills. None of my family members have died in the past 25 years. I'm gonna knock this on some fucking wood, because the last person that passed away in my family was my dad, basically, when I was 7. And I come from a very large family. Like, you know, Arabic families, they tend to be very big. Well, guess what? Mine is not an exception. And in the past 25 or even 26, 27 years, no one in my family passed away. There hasn't been an illness, there hasn't been some crazy disease or a car accident, nobody jumped off a bridge, none of that stuff. Like, you have to realize that these things, we often take them for granted, and I just finally am at a stage in my life where I cannot ignore these things. So I'm very grateful, and sometimes I'm also very scared, because you know that these things, these moments are basically inevitable. It could be today, could be tomorrow, could be in 5 years from now. We don't know. And so I guess that if there is a message that I would like to give to you guys, is to always figure out what you want to do, at least for the short period of time. Have some goals. A lot of the things related to personal development evolve around having big dreams and big goals, and I think that it's too crippling for too many people. And you know, maybe if you cannot do the big diet, why not just stop putting sugar in your coffee and tea like I did? I'm just giving you some dumb example, but the point is, make sure that you have things that you can work on, right? Progress equals happiness. Tony Robbins said it so many times. Progress equals happiness. And I feel like with every progression that I make, as small as it may seem, it makes me feel good about myself. And I wish that everybody could have that sense of pride, that sense of peace that I'm feeling at this stage of my life. I'm not sure how things will evolve. I'm definitely like an upward trend right now. Inevitably, there will be some stage in my life that's going to be a downward trend. But for now, I just want to enjoy this particular part of my life. For the next year, my goal is to work on my nutrition. I still have to specify it a bit more, but I'm definitely going to work on, you know, the healthy part of my diet. I want to feel more fit instead of look fit. I know that I feel like I'm stronger than ever before. I feel fitter than ever before, but I feel like there's still also a lot of room of improvement, not so much in the way I move, but in the way I eat in particular. Secondly, I want to travel much more. 2024, I'm going to probably book all my travels up front, meaning that I always have things to look forward to. And that's it. I guess like I just have to keep doing what I've already been doing for the past 12 months, because you know, all these big goals that we have, they don't happen overnight, and overnight also doesn't mean in 12 months or 24 months. Yes, you can get a lot of shit done within a couple of months, but still I try to look further ahead, think bigger, and plan over a period of at least 5 years, right? So the goal that I had, for example, for retiring my parents, that's not something that you can accomplish within, you know, within a day or a month, right? You need to plan it ahead, save up front, etc. So that's what I'm doing right now. And in the meantime, I hope that this video helps you in whatever way. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just, you know, I press the play button. I'm being just really honest and candid with my personal journey, so that in some shape or form, it may or may not inspire you to do the same, to accomplish the same, right? Just figure out a way to do what you want to do, set some goals, ignore the rest, stay savage.